y'all, it's Hope at Crafty Hope, and I am doing an art journal spread today. I'm using an old book. This is like a Bobbsey Twins book that I think I found for free at the library or something like that. And I've got some miscellaneous papers. Some are collage papers, some are ephemera from old books, and just whatever I had on hand. And then I've got some golden medium. I think it's a soft gel medium, and I've decided I don't really like the soft gel, so I'm just trying to use it up. So I'm using that and a paintbrush to stick down all my papers. I'm trying to really make sure I get down the middle, the center crease of this book page, because I've had some linkage issues of it going through the crease, and I've put masking tape on some pages, but I found that too, that if I just can make sure that my collage papers cover that center line, it helps a lot as well. So that's my main thing there. But then I'm just adding bits and pieces of the paper, sideways and upside down and all that, just to contrast with the text that's on the actual page, so that I have a little bit of interest there. And you'll see this, I think, is my last piece of paper I'm putting down here. And that just, again, I'm really just trying to get that center line and um, get a little bit of interest. And I think these are mostly a couple other book pages, and like I said, there's some kind of like a scrapbook paper there and an old letter that I've got on there. And I trimmed away that little bit of excess and glued down the edges, because I always have trouble getting all of the edges glued down when I collage. Now with some gesso, I am just going to drip it on the page in a couple little spots and use a little brayer to really just kind of force all of that collage and text into the background. And I'll use my finger a little bit to spread some of the gesso, especially along that seam, to make sure that it's pushed back as well. So once that's all done, I'm going to use a heat gun to dry all that gesso up before I go into my next step, because I didn't want that gesso to be wet. I really just wanted to seal up that page so that nothing leaks into the pages behind it. Now this is an alcohol ink spray that I made with some spray alcohol and a black marker tube thing from the inside. And then that's some distress spray in, what is it, Seedless Preserves. And I sprayed that on just randomly and used a wet paintbrush to kind of smear it out. And that adds about all the color that really this page is going to have, is Seedless Preserves and a little bit of black, and which is odd, and I never do just a two-tone page. Now the stamp I'm using here is one that I have carved for Carved December. That's a Julie Fafen Balzer challenge for December. Actually, both of these stamps I carved for the challenge. I've been trying to use the stamps I carve in my journal each day if possible, and those I skipped a day, so I was like, well, I'll just use both of them. And so with the other one, I'm using black stays on, just to stamp that in there. And with the heart one, I used a what is it, Seedless Preserves in the Distress Oxide stamp. Now I've taken an old yearbook and just pulled a picture from it that I liked. I don't know, this girl in this yearbook looked way younger than everybody else that was in there. So I liked her and I pulled her out. And then I took a large print book. This is a Danielle Steele one that I found, I think I don't know if it was at the library or a thrift store, and I grabbed it because the large print is great for stuff like that. I learned that from Tiffany at Southern Gals Designs, that those large print books are fab for finding little phrases that are big enough to actually see in your art journal. So I just glued that picture down with some with an Uhu glue stick, and went around it with a Stabilo all pencil in black, and then a wet paintbrush to just kind of let that picture pop off that collage background a little bit. And then I'm going to play around with the phrase I found in that book. I'm trying to figure out what I want to kind of back that phrase, and so I'm playing with some of the papers that I had put on the page, and I've got a piece of like just music paper there, and that's going to go directly behind my phrase there. And I spray it with some more of that black alcohol spray that I made to just grunge it up a little bit and give it some contrast on all that blue and white that's kind of there in the background. And I used that collage paper, that kind of scrapbooky paper, with some of that purple on it to put behind it to give a little bit more interest. And then I'm just gluing that stack together with stays with the Noohoo glue stick and sticking it down. I decided I need a little bit more of the hearts in there, so I go back in with the same ink pad and everything and put those down and smear them just a little. I'm going to doodle with a couple different pens. This is just, I don't know, just a felt tip pen. And then I've got I think that's a Faber-Castell, one of the smaller Pitt pens, I think. And I'm just adding some like oval doodles there and on the other side. And then what else do I add? Oh, I'm gonna grab a distress crayon, a Tim Holtz distress crayon. Oh no, first is that's a Sharpie paint pen. It's a water-based paint pen that I'm just putting some dots. And then I'm gonna get a black soot crayon. Y'all, I'm jumping ahead here. I scribble around a little bit to add some scribbles, and I decide that it's not grungy enough, so I use that black soot distress crayon finally here, and kind of blend it a little bit, but that wasn't working so great, so I did go with a little bit of a wet paintbrush to add a little bit more grunginess. So with that, I think that finishes up this page. I hope you like this. Give me a thumbs up. Leave comments if you have questions. Thank you so much for coming by. I appreciate it so much. Bye, y'all.